In the last session, how do we set up continuous integration? And before that, how do we set up a job, the downstream, upstream jobs, right? And we're trying to see all the different kind of things that we can do. So in that, to quickly go through, when you say continuous integration, what exactly happens in the continuous integration? So basically, we'll be having a central repository in which there will be users who will be trying to do the changes. So as soon as a change or a commit has been done by any one of the developer, immediately we will start a process where we will take that latest commit, whatever has been done by the user, and then we will try to integrate that latest change to our workspace. And in that, we will go ahead, do a build, verify the test, and if everything is fine, then we will be continuing again with polling it. And in case if there is a problem, we can set up a downstream job where we can send a notification to the respective people on that there is going to be a problem. So this is what is an ideal representation of continuous integration. Now, since we know that as part of the improvement in the DevOps engineering, we will not just be doing only continuous integration, but if needed, we might also have to do certain more code quality analysis, or we have to do certain code details that we have to take. So from that perspective, let's try to see what and all are those steps and how exactly can we do it with Jenkins as a continuous integration process, where after the build has been done and verified, if we want to do further steps in the continuous integration in terms of doing the code coverage report, or in terms of doing this source code analysis, we will try to see how we can extend the process. Okay, so in that way, now we saw one of the plugin that we will use in Maven to do a code coverage was Kobertura. But Kobertura is little outdated. Now we have one of the latest tool called Jekako, and Jekako is one of the popular tool for Maven project to generate the code coverage. Okay, so that way, now if we want the continuous integration process to be set up in such a way that where we will first do the regular continuous integration, in which as soon as a developer commits a change, the Jenkins will try to see, and if the new change is happening, it will integrate that change and it will go ahead and do a build. So that is what we have seen. But in addition to it, we will also see what exactly that we can do for the configuration, where after the build, it should go ahead and do a code coverage step, for which we will use a tool called Jekako. Okay, so that is what we are going to do. Now, for that, first thing we need to know is how is that we are going to call the project from our particular Maven. So for that, as you can see, this is a plugin definition basically for using a plugin related to Maven called Jekako Maven plugin. Okay, and here I'm trying to give it exactly so that whenever we invoke the Maven package, as part of the package I am attaching it. So after completing the package creation, the Maven will automatically call the Jekako plugin and it will try to do the code coverage report. Okay, so that is what we are expected to do. So first, let's try to add this to our project and see whether our project will work exactly based on this. Okay, so now for that, we will go to our Maven project that we had. So here in this, yesterday we created one job called as CI job, right? And for that, we had got a form.xml. So in this, we will try to add a new plugin where, if you see, I have added a plugin in which this is the plugin what I was just showing you in the PPT. So I've already added, and what it means is now this is a plugin related to Jekako, where if I now call the Maven package automatically along with the compilation step, after it creates the package, what it is going to do is it is going to invoke this particular plugin, and because of it, it will generate certain reports, and that will be in this format called jekako-unit.exe. Okay, so to just quickly verify, let's try to run this project once and see. So we'll go inside it. I'm just trying to run it manually once. So here, if you see, after completing the package, it has basically invoked this plugin, and it is generating the report of taking the code coverage of our project. In that way, if you go inside the target folder, you would have seen that it has basically created one more file under this called coverage reports. And in the coverage reports, you can see that it has created a file. So this is the file which has the details about our code coverage. Okay. So now this is from a regular step where if I want to do a build, in addition to the package, I'm also trying to call this. Okay. Now this is normal, but what we want to do is when I have to publish this, I have to put it in some place, correct? Because I cannot directly use this file and get any output. So basically I have to put it in some location, and from there we should be able to get the output displayed on our page. So that way we can make use of Jenkins, where if you attach this particular plugin to the Jenkins, after it has generated this particular report, it will try to show us in the Jenkins page itself. So that is how we can try to integrate the Jekako along with Maven as part of our continuous integration. So to do that, now we have to do certain configurations. So the first thing is, for Jenkins to know that there is a plugin called Jekako, first thing what we have to do is we have to install a plugin corresponding to it. So if you go to your Jenkins page, manage Jenkins, and in this check for manage plugins, and here so you can see here there is a plugin called Jekako. Now I have already installed, that is why it is available in this tab. In your case, if you go to these available, then it will be showing you, then click on this and make sure that you are trying to install this and restart Jenkins if needed. Okay, so that's how first you install this plugin, that is Jekako plugin. After you have installed, then we have to do certain configurations in terms of making the Jenkins understand how it has to use it. Okay, so the first step is make sure you have installed Jenkins. Then in your Maven project, make sure that you have added this particular plugin into the pom.xml. So it should be available, so that when a new check-in happens and when the pom.xml is once again updated from the central repository, it should have all those things. So in my case, I have already put it in last time itself. So that's how when a new commit happens, we will be getting this plugin also along with the pom.xml. Okay. Then once it is done, now we will go back to the Jenkins, and in that, whatever the build step we had there, we will try to add the package step in case if I have not done. Okay, so that way we will try to add it. So let's cross check it. So this is our job. I'll try to configure. Okay, and in the build I have given package just to make sure that it is deleting previous items. I'll just modify it so that now every time the continuous integration job is triggered, it will try to run Maven clean package, and it will try to do the package as well as along with it, it will also create the the Jacaco code coverage report. Okay, so this is fine. Now, after it is completed, the output file will be basically generated under the target folder of our project, and this is the file it will be creating. Now, the next thing what we have to do is we will use the Jenkins to publish this report on the Jenkins page itself. So to do that, now the configuration that we have to do is we will go back to the configure, and for this job, if you go to the post build action, we will try to add a post build action where whatever the report that is being generated by the project, we will try to publish it. So that is when now, until this step, what we have done, we have trying to do the build and generate the coverage report. And after this, what we will do now is we will go to the post build action where what I'm telling to Jenkins is after you complete this, whatever is the exec file that it will create, take that and publish it. So that is what I'm going to do after this as a post build step. So here, if I click, there will be an option called record Jacaco coverage report. So this you will get it only if you have installed the Jacaco plugin. So that is the reason why we are installing. So if you install this, corresponding to that, you will be getting this option. If not, you will not be getting. Okay, so you click this. Now it is going to give you certain details where you can try to configure based on the need. Now it is saying that on our current directory, where is the path to the exec file? Suppose if you have generated the exe in some other file, then you can specify. If not, what it means is */** represents in my current directory, that is this is our current directory of the project, right? So under this, if it is available in any of the directory, ** means anything, and in that, if you see a file ending with the extension .exec, then you pick that as the file to publish. And in addition, if it has to read the class files, then once again I am saying everything is available under ** classes, which means you see if there is any folder under that, if you see a folder called classes, you try to read this. Okay, and in the same way, where exactly is your source code? Now we know since in the Maven we are following a directory structure, so I'm going to say simply src main java and **. So anywhere if it finds a directory structure with this, then basically it is going to pick up all the source from there for reference. Okay, and then coming back here, you have to specify what is the percentage of the threshold. Threshold means, now if you say this is the minimum percentage, what is it is expected from the report, and then in case if it is not getting this much, then it will try to show you as a warning where the threshold is lesser or you have got more percentage report beyond it. So that is how it will try to give us a report based on this. So as of now, I'm just keeping it 0 because the line that we have in the test file is hardly 1 or 2 lines. But in case if you want to set the threshold as 70% or 80%, you can set for each one of them. Based on that, whatever report it has gathered, it will show us the result that this much of threshold is being missing or we are above the threshold, which is completely okay. So this is how you generate the report, and for that you are specifying this plugin to pick it up. Basically, this plugin is not running Jacaco. Jacaco is being run using the Maven, and in that the output whatever we are going to get, we are trying to put it inside our Jenkins as a post build step where it is going to record each and every time you run, and it is going to publish it on the Jenkins page itself so that we can see the output. Okay, so let's apply this. Okay, and after applying, now if you want to trigger the build, basically I have to do a commit. Okay, so instead of the commit, even if you click build now, it is going to run. So just for a test, if I say build now, assume that we have actually submitted a commit, and because of this it is automatically going to do the build, and when it is running, you can see it will once again go ahead and check, and based on the new commit ID, it will be trying to do the build, where it will be running maven clean package, and as part of that, first the package, it will try to compile, build the output, and it is going to create the package, and after that it will generate the report. And if you can see, after it has generated the report, it is trying to do a post build action, where whatever the output that it has generated, you can see it is trying to search, and based on that it would have taken and it will publish. Okay, so now if you want to see the published output, if you go back to the job, now until some time back you can see that there was no graph that it was showing, but now it started showing a graph, and in that you also have something called as coverage trend. So if you click on this, it is going to tell you how many lines that you had and how many lines that it has been covered and missed. So basically, as of now, there is nothing in that file, so it is not showing anything. But as you keep putting some files, it will clearly show you that how many number of lines were there that it was covered as part of your code coverage, and how many lines that we miss. Okay, so that is how it is going to clearly say that these many lines are there in your project, and out of that these many lines were missed. Okay, so this is what we do by invoking Jacaco plugin from Jenkins, where as part of our continuous integration, after the build is done, we will generate the coverage report using the Maven's Jacaco plugin, and that we will connect to the Jenkins and it will publish it. So that is why first definition that you will give is this plugin, and the next one what we will give is the plugin definition in the post build action of Jenkins. So that is how we can take this and publish on the job itself. So like this, for every job, now Jenkins will be tracking it. Okay, so if I build once again, it will once again generate the report, and at the end you can see that it is going to completely put the report for each and every build that you are going to run. So that is how for every time that you are doing a build or running this job, Jenkins will keep a record of that report and it will be publishing it on the same page. Okay, so now you can see the difference, and the coverage report will also be showing. So this is how for every build it will try to track. Getting it? So you can see here for this particular build, if you click on this report, it will give the exact report now. That is, for this particular run, how many files that we had, out of that how many branching or the condition were matched, how many functions were matched. Okay, so everything it tries to show, and this is what the developers will be using to find out how many lines of code that they had already written, and out of which how many lines were captured and how many lines didn't happen. So if you had given a percentage, basically it will try to match that percentage and show that this is how it is happening. So as of now, I said the 0%, and the coverage report is also 0. So it is trying to show in red, which means that you are under your threshold. Okay, so that's how you can specify a threshold based on which it will be trying to show whether it is under the threshold or above the threshold. So in our case, it should always be above the threshold. That's when it is good. Under the threshold means we are not even went to the default ones. Getting it? Do you guys get that? Others? This one. This is the name of the file that we have created here. This one. It is the name of the project. So whatever that it has given. So if you open the pom.xml for this, so this is the group ID of your project. That is what it is trying to show. Now the group ID or the GAV of this particular project is this. So it is trying to take this reference over there. Getting it? Is that clear? So this is how we integrate Jenkins and Maven and do a continuous integration, where after the build we will be trying to generate the coverage report. Now let's come back to the other requirement, where if I want to do a static code analysis, so that is when we will be using one more tool called as SonarQube that yesterday we saw, right? Now first thing, now what is that we have to do is, we have a tool called SonarQube to which we need to integrate with Jenkins. So what we are going to do now is the same thing from the previous step. Instead of putting the coverage report on the on the Jenkins itself, we will use the SonarQube and we will try to ask SonarQube to run the static code analysis and try to publish the results of the source code analysis as well as the coverage report both on its dashboard. So that is what we are going to do by integrating Jenkins with Jacaco and SonarQube by doing a build from Maven. So this is what we are going to do. So first, what we have to make sure is we have SonarQube installed and set up. So that is the first thing that we need to do. So yesterday, if you remember, I showed you how do we install SonarQube. Basically, there will be a folder in which if you just extract the content of the file or that particular zip file that you get, you will be getting a corresponding folder this way. So now under this, if you just go to the bin folder and go to that particular operating system folder and you execute the start sonar.bat, then it will be connecting. So the only thing what we need for this is Java 1.8. Okay, so now if I start, so last time actually the problem what happened was I had one more installation of SonarQube and because of that it couldn't bring it up. Whereas now if you see, it has actually started the SonarQube and I have installed SonarQube on my own machine. And if you want to access SonarQube, then you will use the port number called 9000. Jenkins runs in 8080, but the particular SonarQube will be running on a port called 9000. Okay, so now if you want to see this particular SonarQube, then on your machine or the machine where you have installed, if you go and give local host and 9000, then you will be trying to connect to the SonarQube. So you can see that this is the SonarQube dashboard, and whatever projects that you are going to add, pretty much it will be available in this location. Okay, so this is what we were trying to do last class, where you extract the SonarQube zip file into some directory and in that go to the specific operating system base and then start the sonar or start sonar file and automatically it will be running sonar. The only thing needed for that is Java 1.8. So now we have sonar ready. Okay, now the next thing what we need to do is we need to configure Jenkins so that it will know where is the sonar installed and how to connect, and then as soon as the project is done, we will try to take the static code analysis which the sonar has generated and we will publish into this dashboard. Okay, this is what we have to do. So to do it, let's do one by one. The first thing what we have to do is we have to install SonarQube, and after it is done, for Jenkins to understand SonarQube, there is a specific plugin in Jenkins called as SonarQube plugin. Okay, so now make sure that that plugin is installed in Jenkins. Only then Jenkins will understand. So if you go once again back to your plugin manager, and in this, if you search for SonarQube, you will be having a plugin called SonarQube Scanner for Jenkins. Okay, so make sure you have installed this. Pretty much when you search for in the available tab, because it will not be installed in your location. So just search for SonarQube here. Okay, as of now, since we have already installed, it is not going to show, but when you come to the installed, in my case I have already done, so that's why I'm showing you here. So specifically search for SonarQube Scanner for Jenkins plugin and you install this plugin, and after you install, you will be getting certain configurations where you can specify what is the SonarQube instance which you want to connect. Okay, so what is that we have to do now? Once you have installed the plugin, go to Manage Jenkins and Configure System. Okay, in this, now we will give the details about the SonarQube. What and all I have to give? First thing is go to the Configure System, and in that go to the SonarQube Server tab. Now you will be getting an additional option called SonarQube Server. In that, we have to add a new SonarQube and give the details about it. Okay, so now if you come to Configure System and if you scroll down, you can see that there is a SonarQube option. Now in your place there will be nothing, so you have to click on Add SonarQube. Add SonarQube is nothing but the same thing what you're seeing here, right? You will be getting a option which I have already added, and because of this, this is what you will be getting when you say Add SonarQube. Now to this, you just give a name. It's just the name which Jenkins is going to use to identify our instance of SonarQube. Okay, and then the server URL. So here you have to tell how was that we are going to connect to the SonarQube. That is where exactly it is running. So since it is running in our same machine, I'm just saying localhost :9000. If the same thing SonarQube is running on some other machine, then you have to give the complete path of the machine where it is running, and in that :9. Okay, so this is the only thing that you have to do. So just leave all the others blank because we are not interested in giving any specific authentication. The only thing is where is your SonarQube instance running, and you just give a name to identify. Okay, so once you give this much, we have told to Jenkins that when we say use SonarQube, it should use this particular location, that is this one, and publish all the static code analysis that it is going to generate, as well as the coverage report also will be published into this. So this is what is the setting that we are going to do from the configure Jenkins. Okay, now this is only for telling the Jenkins on what is the dashboard of the SonarQube. But how is that we are going to ask the SonarQube to generate some data through Jenkins, right? Because when you now do a continuous integration, Jenkins should be calling SonarQube, and through that it should be able to generate the static code analysis. So for that, if you remember, there was one more zip file which we had to install, that was called as SonarQube Scanner. Okay, So sonar cube scanner is the actual one which will be trying to generate the static code analysis, whereas the other one that we installed is only the dashboard. So that way, now we have to tell what is the sonar cube scanner which we are using, based on which Jenkins will run this sonar scanner, and then based on that it will try to generate the report and then publish it on the 9000 port. Okay, so for that, now in order to configure the sonar cube, first thing is we need to extract the zip file of the sonar cube scanner. So what I have done is, basically on the same folder I have copied this particular zip file related to Windows, and if you extract, you will be getting a path like this. So this is the path where we will be calling this sonar scanner, using which Jenkins will be able to generate the static code analysis of the project. Okay, so we have to tell this is where this sonar scanner is available to the Jenkins, so that it can pick this and run it against our project. So to do this, we will go to manage Jenkins, and in the global tool configuration we will add the sonar cube scanner, and for that we will tell where is the scanner available. Okay, so let's copy this and let's apply manage Jenkins, and in this global tool configuration, because it is a specific tool related information, right? So in this you can see we have all the default kind of configuration for Git or any other tool. So in this, the first thing what we have to do is, if you scroll down, you can see there is a sonar cube scanner. So in this, if you click on this, it will try to give you an option, and under that you add a sonar cube scanner. So if you add, you will be getting one more data like this, and in this, remove this install automatically, and after that this is what you will be getting exactly. Okay, so that is what I've already added it. So what is that you have to do is, you just give a name to the sonar cube scanner which Jenkins will be recognizing, and where is the location in which sonar scanner is available, or the home where you have installed the sonar scanner. So pretty much this is the directory where we extracted the sonar scanner. So you have to give this path to this particular location. So in this, you will tell exactly where the sonar scanner is available. Okay, so once this is done, we have told to the Jenkins on what exactly to use to publish the results, as well as we have also told this is the sonar scanner which it should use and run against the project to generate the static code analysis. Okay, so once you have done, apply this. And so far what we have done is, we have just told to Jenkins on where is the sonar cube dashboard available, as well as where is the sonar scanner available. So now if you go back to the job, we have to configure to tell Jenkins that to run the sonar scanner. So because we have just configured where it is, but next step is we need to tell to the Jenkins to run it, correct? So that way we will go to the job. Okay, and in the job what we will do is, so in the job which I've already opened, if you go to the build step, as of now this is the step that is there, right? So I don't want to do anything to it, but after completing it I want to run a static code analysis. So for that you click on add build step, and in this you will see execute sonar cube scanner. So you have to choose it. Further, it is going to ask you certain details. Now what we have to do for that is, there are two ways that you can do. Either you can actually add all the details one by one. If not, for sonar scanner it basically needs certain details on what is the project you are working and from where the files has to be picked up. So you can give these as the properties where it will try to pick up this and run the sonar scanner. Okay, now this is what I have done. So what I have done is I'm just giving certain data where these data are nothing but the data which will be appearing on your sonar cube. So when the sonar scanner runs, it will be generating all the static code analysis. But after generating it, where is it supposed to put it? It will connect to the sonar cube instance which is running here, and it will put. While it is putting, what is the name of the project that you want to assign? That is what you are giving. And in that, is there any specific name that you want to give? You can give it. And if you want to give a version, you can also give it this way. Okay. And in addition, where exactly it should take all the files. So that is what we are going to give with this property called sonar sources. And I'm saying everything is available under this folder called src. So take it from here. And after it has generated, where is the sonar scanner should put its output? So that I am saying go to the target folder. Under that same coverage reports, you try to put it with this name. Okay, so that is what we are telling, that for sonar scanner, it is not only going to do a static code analysis, but also internally it will generate the report for Chakako also and publish it here. Okay, so this is what we are saying, that when you run Jenkins after the build, you try to call this particular step, in which what it is going to do, it is going to run the sonar scanner against our project, whatever files it is, and then the output will be put into the sonar cube dashboard with this naming convention. Okay, so once it is done, apply. So what we have done now is we have pretty much now completed adding the sonar scanner, and we have configured it. So now if you go ahead and do the build, it will first try to do the package, and after that it will generate the Koberchura reports. It will try to generate the Jacaco code coverage, and after that it will try to run sonar scanner, generate all the static code analysis, and that will be published to the sonar cube 9000 port. Okay, so as of now you don't have anything, but as soon as I complete this, it will try to publish the report there. Okay, so that is what we are trying to do here. Okay, so let's try to run. So now here, if I go ahead and do a build, because practically this should be part of the continuous integration, where as soon as we do a change, it should be taking that up. But just for our testing case, I'm trying to run it directly. So you can watch now, it is actually running the sonar scanner and trying to generate all the details about our project. Okay, and not only that, it is trying to put the analysis report to the localhost 9000 itself. Okay, so watch it again. After doing the successful build, since we have given it as another step, it is trying to run this after this maven package, where it is trying to analyze our project, and with respect to that, it is going to take the report and publish it to the dashboard that we have used, that is the 9000 port. So now here you come and refresh, you can see that it has created a new project called SonarCube. Okay, where how did we get it? We got this because in this we have given the name of the project as Sonar Demo. So with respect to that, it is trying to show you the package here. Okay, so if you click this now, you will get all the details where it is going to show you that what is the number of lines you have, out of which how many are having problem. As of now, there's only 2 lines and there is no issue in it. Okay, so same way you have total 28 lines, and what are those? You can try to say that there are 2 files basically. One is the src main Java file and the corresponding to it src test. So it is trying to compare both of them, and it is showing you how many lines of code is there and how many has been really picked up. Is there any quality that is causing a problem, or is there any security issue? So like that, you can try to go through all the details about this particular static code analysis, as well as the Cobertura or the Jacaco, whatever that you are using as a plugin to generate coverage. It will be showing it here. Okay, so this is how what we have done is we have basically doing a continuous integration in which after the build, it is going to first generate the coverage report, and after that it is going to call the Sonar scanner, in which against the project where we are working, it will go to the src folder, and based on all the content it will read it. Okay, and then you can see that once it is generated, it will try to connect to this particular plugin or to this particular SonarQube instance running in our machine under 9000 port, and there it is trying to put all the details. Okay, so this is how, as part of continuous integration, we can try to run code coverage as well as static code analysis. Getting it? So this is what the developers will be using to see. So as soon as the build happens, you can see that it was showing you the output. Where exactly is the output file put, so that they can go to this location and see, where they will come to know what and all are the code is there, what kind of issues do we have, and where it has been fixed. All those things it will try to show you the details, which the development team can look at it and know what is the static code analysis as well as the coverage report that has been captured. Getting it? Hello? Can you guys hear me? Hari, Karnakar, Kavya, Nagesh, Vinay. Did you get it on how do we integrate Jenkins with others?
Yes, Adam, we are getting it.
Okay. So this is more of a continuous integration. So now, what do you mean by continuous integration? For every change a developer does, immediately Jenkins will try to take that change and it will try to do a integration first by updating its workspace, and after that you go ahead and do a build, and after the build we can go ahead and do a coverage report that we can generate, and as an example we saw Jacaco. And after that, if you want to publish it separately into SonarQube, we can use it, where we can also do the static code analysis using SonarQube. In that, SonarQube is basically a web page or a dashboard, and to generate the static code analysis we will be using what? Sonar scanner, which is part of the SonarQube. but Sonar scanner is specifically used to generate the static code analysis, and that we will try to publish it to the Sonar Cube. So that is how you are going to have a complete process where automatically now if a build happens, Jenkins will go ahead and run this job automatically, and because of that it will generate the report and it will be published to the Sonar Cube. Okay, and now if you look, as soon as you come inside the job, it clearly says that this job has been attached to Sonar Cube, and that is how if you want to go to the installation of Sonar Cube where you have done, simply if you click this, it will take you directly to the particular project's output. So that is how the user, whoever is trying to see this output, he doesn't even have to know where exactly the Sonar Cube is running. Okay, so that is how everything is integrated from Jenkins. The same thing here also, and the same thing here, where it is saying that Sonar Cube is tracking this particular project. And if you want to see the output, if you click, it will take you exactly to the project key that we have defined. So that is the reason when you are defining the details for the Sonar scanner, we have to give here on the properties what is the name, so that uniquely you can track it. Okay. Now, this is from continuous integration. But when you say DevOps, we also focus on another process called continuous delivery. Okay. So what exactly is continuous delivery and how is it different from continuous integration? So that we need to know. So to understand, first, what is that we are using continuous integration for? Continuous integration is majorly used to help the developers to detect if there is any problem after every check-in he is going to do. So that is how for every check-in a developer does, immediately we will try to verify and find out if it is okay or not. And that way, now after every check-in is done, we are not going to deliver the product. Why? Because not every commit which a developer is doing is going to be a release candidate, correct? When I say a release candidate, it doesn't mean that that particular change is what we will be going and giving to the customer. So that way, each build which we are doing in continuous integration cannot be an actual change which we are going to give it to the customer as a release. So that is very first thing that we need to know. So that way, now continuous delivery is what it is, just a step where after our continuous integration, how is that quickly we are going to deploy that particular project or product that we have created into a production like environment. Not exactly like the production, but something similar to the production. So that kind of step that we do after the continuous integration is what we call it as continuous delivery. Okay, so why do you need this continuous delivery? Now let's say I have a particular product, and if I directly go ahead and do a deployment onto the production, sometimes there might be a problem. So that is how we are trying to ensure that whatever the product that we have created, it is actually good as a complete product, not by just doing some testing, but also it is a complete deployable product at any point of time. So for that, we will try to have an environment similar to our production environment, and in that we will be trying to deploy. So that concept of deploying the product or the artifact continuously after you do the continuous integration is what we call it as continuous delivery. So that way, now whatever the package that we are going to create, after doing the continuous integration, you will try to deploy it to a particular environment which will be exactly similar to our production environment, and in that we will try to verify whether that particular code what a developer has submitted is not only working as a product, but it is also a complete deployable code. And further, we will also run certain automated testings on top of it. So that is how continuous delivery is simply the steps that you do on top of continuous integration, in which you deploy the product to a particular production like environment and do certain automation test on it. So that is how you can see here continuous delivery simply means continuous integration plus fully automated test suite, where now you are thinking about not just taking the file as soon as the developer commits, but take the file, create a product, unit test it, and you can also deploy it and do certain automated tests on them. So such a kind of process is what we call it as continuous delivery. Okay, so if you try to understand it in a better way, so continuous integration means what we will do, we will first, for every commit a developer does, immediately we will be doing a build, and after the build, if we want, we can do certain unit tests, and then if needed, I'll be doing a staging. Staging means you are trying to take that file and put into some location. Okay, whereas continuous delivery means it's all about doing whatever that we did in continuous integration, and top of that you also do certain additional testers, which is automated test. Okay, so that is what we call it. And whenever we are completely okay with that automated test that we have done, then we can say go ahead and do the deploy. So that is how continuous delivery is nothing but after completing your continuous integration, go ahead and do the complete test of your product in an automated way, and whenever you want, you will go ahead and do a deployment, and this deployment will happen manually, because only when all the acceptance test has been completed and when we realize that this change is okay, then we will go ahead and do the deployment. So remember, in the continuous delivery, deployment is manual. So whenever we say, only then it will be done. Now there is one more concept called as continuous deployment. Now it might be confusing because, okay, continuous integration and continuous delivery difference is continuous integration, I'll stop until here, whereas in continuous delivery, along with the build, we will also do the testing, and everything is okay, only manually we will do the deployment. Then what exactly is continuous deployment? Continuous deployment is the same as continuous delivery, but the difference is from here to here it is automated. But in the continuous delivery, from this step to this step is manual. But in continuous deployment, from beginning to end, everything is automated. So if you have a scenario where you don't just want to just build, but also to do the automated test and immediately deploy. So that is the difference between continuous delivery and deployment. So it is just a naming convention difference. If in your project, if the process is after the testing you want to deploy manually, then you call it as continuous delivery. But the same thing, if the deployment is also automated, then we call it as continuous deployment. Okay, so that's the basic difference between continuous integration, continuous delivery, and deployment. So what we will be doing in majority of the cases is continuous delivery. Only on few business requirement, as soon as the product commit has been done, immediately you have to test and verify everything is okay, and you have to do the deployment automatically. If not, whatever that we will be doing is a continuous delivery, where after the continuous integration is done, we will take that particular project file and put into a area which is exactly similar like the production environment and do the testing, and whenever it is needed, we can go ahead and do the deployment manually. Getting it? Understanding first on the difference. Others? Karnakar, Nagesh. Okay, so practically now, how is that we are going to implement continuous delivery? So now if you see, continuous delivery and deployment is the same. If you try to deploy manually, then you call it delivery. Sorry. So what I was saying is, if you try to deploy as part of your continuous delivery manually, then it is called as continuous delivery. The same thing, if you try to deploy it automatically, then it is called as continuous deployment. Okay. So now, what we will do as part of the continuous delivery. So basically, you are going to have the Jenkins setup in which it is going to frequently poll for latest commit that we have. And once we have, what it will do, it will go ahead and do the build. And after that, if we have code coverage that is done, in our case, we have Jacoco, right? So based on the Jacoco, it is going to generate it. Okay. And that is the second step of build and test. And once it is done, the next thing that we are going to do is we are going to run the Sonar Cube scanner, and then it is going to generate the details and it is going to publish everything to the Sonar Cube. Okay. So based on the coverage report as well as the static code analysis, it will take and put everything to the Sonar Cube on the test results. And finally, after the project, whatever that particular package that we have created, we will try to put it into a particular deployment area where, if needed, this could be an application server, like what a quick example that we saw on JBoss. If I want, I can connect and do. But if not, we can also store it in a separate place. So that is when we will be using some tool called as Artifactory or Nexus. Okay. So what is the purpose of this? So we have a tool called Artifactory. The purpose of the tool is basically just like how we have SEM tool for storing all our source code analysis, we can use this tool called Artifactory to store all our binary files, so that anytime we want to refer it back for any purpose, we can easily track and have it. So that way, Artifactory is a binary storage tool where all the project, whatever that we have done, we can try to put it up inside this Artifactory. So since we are trying to put everything to the Artifactory, this is also called as deployment, wherein you are not doing the actual deployment, but a place similar to your production, right? So this is also called as continuous delivery, where we will create the project as part of the continuous integration, verify everything, and then put the package or whatever product we are creating into the Artifactory, which can be used by any of our internal stakeholders like the developers or QA, and they can use it for testing. Okay. So that way, what we are going to see now is how is that we can configure Artifactory, and as part of our continuous delivery, after we have done continuous integration, how is that we will deploy that product into Artifactory. Okay. So now for this, let us not focus about installing Artifactory. Okay. I'll talk about how to install Artifactory in a later session when we go through Docker. But the only thing that what I'm doing now is I am trying to use Docker to install Artifactory, because I don't want to install Artifactory manually, because setting Artifactory, that is installing and configuring, will take a longer time. So that is when we can make use of Docker to have a pre-configured environment, so that automatically I will be having Artifactory at a location which we can use. So why you are going to use Docker, how to use everything, we will see that specification later. But for now, just assume I'm not trying to install Artifactory manually, but using Docker, I'm trying to use it. So for that, I'm going to use a particular image of Docker and I'm going to run it. So I've already installed Docker in it. Okay. Okay, I've started running Docker in this. And from this is the machine where I am trying to install Artifactory through Docker. Okay, and for that, I'm going to use a command like this. And what it is trying to do, if you look within a couple of seconds, the Artifactory will not only be installed, but it will be configured on this machine automatically. Okay, so this is one practical example of using Docker. So whatever that we are going to see in the Docker, I'm just showing you beforehand on how to do it. So when we talk on Docker, we will explain more on this, on what exactly is happening and why is that we are using this here. Okay, so for now, just understand this. Instead of installing everything manually, I'm trying to use Docker to install Artifactory. So this installation is complete. Now let's find out. Okay, so we have Artifactory running. Now to access Artifactory, I just need the machine name from which it is running. Okay, so this is the machine on which Artifactory is running. And if you want to access Artifactory, Artifactory will be running on a specific port. Okay, so now what you have to do is simply, if you go to this page, just like how we had Sonar Cube, and in this, if you give port 8081 slash Artifactory, it will connect to the Artifactory. Okay, so Sonar Cube runs on the port called 9000. Artifactory runs on a port called 8081. So on this machine, it is running on port 8080, and to access, this is how you will say the name of the machine colon 8081 slash Artifactory. And now if you click, it will try to access the Artifactory which is running in this particular machine. Okay, so initially for the first time it will take a little slow, but after that it will be fast. So just wait for a few minutes, it will be connected. So actually I didn't do anything other than creating an Artifactory. So it is trying to set up everything for the first time. So that is why it is taking a longer time. So once it is set up, from next time it will be faster in accessing. So what we are doing, we have just installed Artifactory using Docker on this machine, and I'm trying to instantly access. So while accessing, it is trying to do the basic configuration that is needed, and that we will be seeing it. Okay, it might take some time, so I'll just pause it. Okay, now you can see that it has started Artifactory completely. Okay, and the default, okay, so it is asking us, to set a default password for it. Okay, so you can set it as admin, and you can just skip, it's not important, you can just skip for all those things. So now you can see we just have installed Artifactory, and as of now I do not have anything. So just like how we created repositories in SCM or in Git, we can similarly create repositories in Artifactory, and we can use that particular repository to store all the files that we will be having from our project into this. Okay, I ran that command on a new machine. So this is a separate machine, not on my Windows machine. This is a CentOS machine on which I ran it. You can see this is a separate machine. Okay, so Artifactory is running on this machine, whereas the Jenkins that we have is on my machine. So now we will try to configure Jenkins so that it can connect to this Artifactory and do the deployment. So to do that, first we need to tell Jenkins to use that. So for it, first, after you have set up your Artifactory, install the Artifactory related plugin in Jenkins so that Jenkins will understand it. So first we will go to the plugin manager, and in this you can search for Artifactory. Okay, so you can see that there is a plugin which is already installed. In your place, if you go to the available tab, it will be there. So just try to install and restart Jenkins. So make sure you install all the 3 plugins together. Okay, then once you have put it up here, okay, when I say all the 3, I mean to say Checkako, SonarQube, and this particular Artifactory altogether. So once you have installed, then corresponding to this, you will be getting the options in the configure system. So now what we have to do is go to the manage Jenkins and configure system, and under that, after you have installed the Artifactory plugin, you would have been getting a new option called Artifactory. So under that, you have to do certain configuration. So let's try doing it. So go to Jenkins, manage Jenkins, configure system, and because of the plugin that we have installed, if you scroll down, you can see that there will be an option called Artifactory newly. So in your case, you will not be having anything. So click on add Artifactory. So this is what you will be exactly getting as what you are seeing up. Okay, so if you add a new Artifactory server, you'll be getting this. In that, make sure this option is disabled. Okay, so by default, bin tray is nothing but in the Artifactory tool, we have one more option where we can connect it to the cloud. Rather than installing on our machine, I can use the Artifactory to run on cloud. That is something advanced specific to Artifactory. So that is why when you are working on this, make sure you have not choose this. By default, this option will be enabled. So make sure that you remove it. Okay. So after you have removed, you come here and you give some name to identify the server using Jenkins. So it is just the name that you will use. Next thing, what is the URL to connect to Artifactory? So that you have to give. So basically, you will try to take this particular one and give it to Jenkins. Okay. So now this is the path where Jenkins will be connecting to the Artifactory to deploy anything. Then what is the username and password to connect to this? You will be giving it here. So basically whatever that I gave it as admin, I'm going to use the same thing here. Okay. So once this much is done, then try to do a test connection to verify whether Jenkins is able to connect to this using this username and password. Okay. requesting version information. Okay, let's see advanced. What's the problem now? Error occurred while requesting version information. This is not needed. The version that we are using is 5.3.2. Okay, and is the path same? Okay, I gave the wrong password. So last time I had given something else. So now I gave the username as admin and the password was also admin that I've set. So now it could see that it is exactly trying to find this particular installation of Artifactory, and it is saying that the version what you have installed is 5.3.2, which means it is able to connect. So the first step that we have done is installed Artifactory and install the Artifactory plugin in Jenkins and give the details about it so that Jenkins will know to where it has to connect. Okay, so that is the first step done. Now the next thing what we have to do is we have to tell to the specific job to use this, correct? So that is how you will go to the specific job, and in that, under the build environment section, now we will use Maven 3 Artifactory integration as a step. Until now, to do a build, what is that we did? We were directly using a shell environment and we were running, right? But instead, what we have to do now is we have to basically use this particular integration with Maven and Artifactory. For that, we will call Maven 3 Artifactory integration. Okay, so if you go back to your job, configure, and under the build environment, you can see that there is an option called Maven 3 Artifactory integration. So if you click this, you will be getting specific option on. You have to tell the details where you want to put. Okay, so the first one that we did on configuration here is to tell to Jenkins on where exactly everything is available, but here specifically to this project where repository or which repository you want to put. Okay, so that way here you give the complete details about where your Artifactory is. That will be automatically obtained from your job. So whatever that you're going to give it there, it will automatically be loaded here. So let's first apply this, save. Okay, and now if you come back to this job, build environment, and if you click this, you can see that it is auto populating from your configuration that we have done, saying that this is where I have to put. Now along with this, we have to do certain more configurations, where first thing we will do is click on the Artifactory configuration, and in that input the name of the Artifactory server, so that automatically it will be taking it up. Okay, and then you will try to give if there is any specific repository that we have created. In case if you have not created, then it will be auto populating the values for it. Okay, so that is the only thing. So if you now refresh it, you can see it is taking the default repository that is available in the project. So as of now, I have not created because it is going to take some time if you want to refer. So instead, I'm just creating a standard repository name called as example repo local, and whatever project we are going to build, automatically it is going to put it here. Okay, and in addition to this, we are going to enable this option called deploy artifacts to Artifactory. So that is how, if you want to tell specifically what and all are the artifacts, you can give it, or if you want to exclude from a group of artifacts, you can do this here. Okay, and along with it, you will also give an option called filter excluded artifacts with build info. Now, what is the purpose of this? Just like how Jenkins is going to maintain the history for every job, we have a history, right? In the same way, after you have put the files into the Artifactory, Artifactory can give you the same information on which Jenkins job connected to this and deployed this, what is the build number of that. All the information can be stored in the Artifactory. So if you want to do that, that is where you will be giving this option, where I'm saying capture and publish the build information on your Artifactory. So that is what you will be giving the options. Okay, so once you have done, next go to the build section. So what we have set now is only the build environment. Okay, now go to the build section, and in this we cannot now call this execute shell directly. So instead, what is that we have to call? We have to call Artifactory Maven 3, because we will have a plugin here which is going to specifically connect to the Artifactory directly. Okay, so that way here, first let's delete it. Okay, and now I want to delete this also first, because first I have to put the compilation and then I have to put this. Okay, so first we will do is, we will come here, and in this you will have invoke Artifactory M3, correct? So in this you can see there is a little difference. We are not calling a shell, but we are calling a Maven directly, and for that it is trying to say what is the version of Maven that you want to use, which you have configured, and then where is the POM file available. So if you do not give anything, by default it will be trying to take the default pom.xml, and then what goals do you want to pass. So for me, I'm just interested to calling these two. So this is the only thing directly you will say, where now it will directly invoke Maven under our project folder, and it will use the default pom.xml, and it will try to run this, because we are directly invoking Maven integrated with the Artifactory. And for that we will add one more step. What is that? The execute SonarQube scanner, and for that I'll replace. Why? It is because I want this to be running first and then I want to run it. So just because of that. Okay, so there is no difference other than adding this. So if I apply, and just to do the manual build once, because again we have to do a check-in, instead I'm trying to. So now as soon as you refresh, you can see that it is giving an option called Artifactory build info. So now if you click, it will take you to the Artifactory page. As of now I do not have anything, but it is saying that there is a example repo, and under that we do not have anything. So let's wait for a job to happen, then if you go, it will try to show you the output what you have put. Okay, so as part of this, first thing we are going to do is continuous integration, where we will do the build. After the build, we will try to generate the coverage report, and after the coverage report we are going to do this source code analysis, and after that we are going to publish it to the SonarQube, and then we are going to connect to what? Specifically the Artifactory, and we are going to deploy it. Okay, so that you can see here, if you refresh, you can see that on this side it is clearly saying that the build number of the job called CI, that is 6, it exactly connected to this and deployed, and because of which you are getting a artifact. And if you want to see the artifact, you can now come to this repository. Under this repository you can see that you have this deliverable that we created from our project. This is the one we created, right? So that has been put here. As well as if you go to your Sonar Cube, you can also see that everything is available. So that is how, using this particular Jenkins, now we can get all the details about your code coverage, as well as if you want, you can go to the Sonar Cube and see the complete static code analysis, as well as from this location, if you want to connect to the build info on the Artifactory, if you click, it will directly take you here where this is the build number from this particular continuous integration server that we have got, and corresponding to it, it will try to bring it here. So that's how everything will be interconnected. Okay, so it exactly tells you what it ran, from where did you run, and what is the output of it. So to do that, if you come here and see, every time you store it, it will be trying to store it into the Artifactory tool in this way. Okay, so each and every build that you're going to do, if it is successful, it will automatically come here and it will try to put it up into this place. So this is how you're going to set up a complete continuous integration and a delivery, where as soon as a developer commits, you're going to go through all the process of working on it. Getting it? So for those, if you want to install Docker and if you want to try this, pretty much you can just follow the step. In case if your machine is a Red Hat based machine or a CentOS, just simply run this step. And after that, if you run these two steps, then Artifactory will be installed. And then as we did, you can just come back and try to use the machine name colon 8081. Then it will be trying to access Artifactory from it. Okay, so I'll share this document with you guys so that you can practice, and pretty much you can try to rerun. Other than this, in case if you're not able to get this Artifactory, it should be good, but at least you should be able to run the previous one on all the plugins and practice. Okay.